What's happening, guys? David Womack here. I figured this was a great spot to take a break right here at this beautiful little creek at the bottom of these tributaries and drainages. We've been out today scouting, and this is one of the areas that I was hunting last year, and I ran into some issues, especially with the boundary lines here with the logging land, state land, private this land. Area, you know, lots of slash coming down here, real hard to walk through to get to the opening and where these deer are really hanging out at the bottom of these drainages. So this year I'm going to be designing and clearing out trails, figuring out where I might be camping for deer camp, to figure out how I can maneuver through this swiftly, quietly, you know, like a ninja. But anyhow, and I'm going to be putting up a tree stand, so hopefully that works out real well. So another thing is as we're building relationship with these areas, we're paying attention to the water, the tracks, what's moving through here. We've got deer, bear, elk, mountain lions, grouse. So we're paying attention to that. What are they eating? What is the seasons doing? You know, I was paying attention last year to my other spot, which is loaded with berries, and there's also apples pretty close from some farmers, which the bears, they just come out of the mountains during the summer and start eating apples, start eating berries, and loading up on calories, getting ready for the next winter. So that was really awesome to view that and to get to know what the bears are doing, as I'm kind of new to this area, and I've been in this state now since 2017, but this is pretty fresh to me on this side. So it was really a lot of scouting last year and a lot of just understanding the animals and the habitats. So on that other side with where the bears were, they were really pushing and driving my deer out. So I was kind of battling that. And then also I was starting to figure out about that time that the deer start going really nocturnal and hanging out in the woods all day and not really moving too much, and really moving more at night. So that was another thing, pretty much only getting to see them within an hour before dark, right? So and then in the morning, right after dark into the morning, right? So that's another thing we're paying attention to. And also, you know, what are they eating on? Are y'all putting out clover? Are y'all, you know, putting cover crops down or whatever? Or is that even legal in your area? You know, baiting's not really legal here unless you're a native. So that's that. And then, so I'm really preparing for this year and hopefully having some good turnouts. So what I'm kind of doing now is, now I know where the bears are really hanging out, so that's going to be more of my predator area, okay? And, you know, hanging out within that 50 to 100 yard line away from that, where all those berries and everything I'm talking about and those rose hips are hanging out until shoot, all the way up until November, December almost. So they're still eating on that for fiber, and then they're starting to scavenge and even take little fawns and stuff. One of the bears snatched up a fawn that was within 30 yards of my back door. So anyways, I'm going to be getting more prepared for hunting bear in this area for this year as well, fall bear. So that's that. And then over here is going to be my main deer area, and there's signs of bucks. I've seen them, I bumped them. There's does, And last year we had a really weird season with the weather and everything, and really trying to get them, you know, into that rut season. It was a really weird rut season, so I was dealing with that. And then also once we're clearing this area out and we're getting into spring now, so there's the spring turkey hunting, right? And while we're out here scouting, we're reading the animals, we're understanding the frogs are chirping. That's a sign of spring. That's a good sign. And so we're scouting all year, preparing all year to make sure we're making these ethical hunts and ethical shots. And we're paying attention to the herds. We're paying attention to the bears. Are these sows? Do they got cubs? Or are they boars? Is this doe? Does she have how many fawns? How many yearlings? How many bucks are roaming your area? You're really building a relationship with the land and the plants, the wildlife, the everything, the whole ecosystem. And how do you play a part on providing and helping that ecosystem, right? So here we are in spring, and we're about to be getting off into turkey season too. And we're on the west side of the Cascades here. We'll be going on the east side. So I'm not able to frequent that area. I do have a buddy that helps me out, that's going to be helping me out more, that lives in that area, so that's going to be a bonus. But it's a 6-hour drive from where I'm at, so I can't constantly be over there. But what we're going to be doing, we're going to be swapping up our elk GMU hunting area, and it's going to be a dual scout, right? So we're going to be not only hunting turkey this coming spring in May, the first week of May, and we're going to be in what's called Turkey Canyon, okay? What they call, you know, the locals call it Turkey Canyon. And while we're there, we're going to be also scouting and looking for elk sign, because that's where we're usually hunting elk. We are switching up the GMU. It's going to be north of the original GMU that we're used to hunting. And it's been kind of an attachment that I'm trying to pull away from, because I've been putting in 3 years of this one GMU, and we called in some 5x5 big bulls last year that one of them damn near run me over. We called them in so close, and but it was only a spike only GMU. And so this year we're going to be hunting this other GMU that's just north of that, and there are feed stations in the winter for them, and they do start coming out down the mountains and start drifting that way. But anyhow, we're going to be hunting some new area, and it's a dual mission. So while we're there turkey hunting, and yes, it's going to be great to turkey hunt, and if we bag something, great, but also just learning the land and being with some buddies out there is going to be one hell of a good time. So I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to understanding some new landscapes and seeing where the drainages are, where the birds are hanging out, what are they eating, what are they scratching. And while we're out there understanding and reading the birds and becoming part of their flock and getting involved with that, you know, and that's a whole nother thing, is becoming one with these animals and then understanding them and making calls with them and being able to talk to them and read them. And it's becoming a woodsman is a lifelong journey, you know, and it's a humbling situation too, you know. It's not always about the meat. That's definitely a bonus, to fill that freezer and bring meat home and for your community and your brothers and sisters that are hunting with you, right? So anyhow, we're going to be on the east side, and we're going to be putting in some time hunting these turkey, and we're going to be also really putting in some groundwork trying to figure out what these elk are doing and kind of get an idea of where we're going to be coming in and hunting for these elk come September. And we're going to be doing archery season. I might even put in for a special permit to try to do a dual permit, you know, hunting archery and modern firearm. As much as I'm into primitive skills and traditional archery and the traditional ways, I do also believe in modern firearms, especially for predator season and all that. But anyhow, this archery season, I am going to be shooting this with this hickory bow here that I made last year. I got it down, tillered it to about 55 pounds, and you know, this is at 28-inch draw, and with Doug fir shafts. And so anyhow, this is what I'm going to be shooting. Hopefully that's what I'm going to be going for. And my wife might actually be hunting with me for the first time, for her first hunt with the turkey too. And I've got a shotgun ready for her too. I'm trying to push myself through new thresholds. I've been building myself bows for the past few years now. But anyhow, now if you're hunting elk here, deer or elk here, and you register for archery season, then that's what you got to stick with, right? So anyhow, it's a little tricky here in Washington. I'm not too big of a fan here. And we've definitely been looking into possibly rearranging our destination of living on some border states as well, you know. So Alaska and Montana and Idaho is definitely looking pretty good. But anyways, we still love it here. This is a really beautiful state, and we've built really great community, and really enjoying it since we've been here. So we're going to give it our best this hunting season and see what happens. And so what are y'all doing to prepare, and how much time are y'all putting into scouting? You know, when I find an area, I'm stump shooting out here. I'm shooting different angles. I'm, you know, in the locations that I'm in, I'm definitely sending some arrows home right there between 10, 15, 20 yards. Sometimes 25 yards. I try to stay within that 30 yards especially with the self bow. And then when I come back home, you know, if I can't get out here and practice all the time or scouting, you know, I'm going to be going home and getting my angles as good as I can. If I'm using a ladder or getting up on something high, heck, even on the back of your truck if you got to, and standing up and shooting at a target at an angle, getting downhill, changing your angles up and shooting with your bow all the time throughout the whole year. You know, this isn't just come out and dust your bow off, you know, a month before season and get to hunting. That's, you know, I hear about that all the time, but, you know, when you care about the animals and you love what you do, especially when you go off into the traditional journey, being a woodsman, I love it. I love shooting. I love getting out here, and I love doing this stuff. This is my home here, you know, and I want to integrate and weave in my own life with these animals and do the best I can to become part with their relationship and their system here, and allowing me in and honoring the animal to the best of my knowledge as possible. So that's kind of what my scouting season is looking like. So in the comments, I would love to hear what you got going on. All right, guys.